Welcome to a windy, warm afternoon in the Mara Triangle. We are in the search for the Olololo Pride, and I think they're just below us here. I can hear some baboons alarm calling in the forest, so I'm going to try find a way to get into that forest. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Archie on camera, and you're on a live African safari. Isn't that wonderful? So I'm looking for lions. Jamie's going to head towards the Sumat. Try to find some elephants. Remember, if you have any questions for us, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on whatever platform you're watching. We're right on the edge of this little lugger. I'm pretty sure the lions are hiding in there somewhere. Now, it's quite a steep lugger, so I'm going to try find a way to maneuver through and over the lugger. And try get it to those lions who were quite hungry this morning. So who knows what they might get up to this evening. You've got to be quite careful driving around these areas. As you can see, there's lots of big steep drops. So I concentrate on not falling off the edge. Let's go see where and what Jamie's up to.
Almost at the Samaki swamp, but to be completely 100% honest with you, I'm very curious to see whether or not Brent manages to find a way in there. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. I wasn't brave enough to try it this morning, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as he makes his way in. A very good afternoon to all of you. I completely forgot that part. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Adrian is on camera with me once again. And we are heading across to the Samaki swamp, where I can see lots of elephants. Lots and lots and lots and lots of elephants. So I think we'll spend some time peacefully watching the ellies, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. I think things might be changed by the weather that is on our northern horizon. It's not looking so good there. It's looking a little dodgy. Next few hours, I think that's going to hit. I really hope Brent closed the tent. He was... Tom, it is just gone 3:30 in Kenya, so we are an hour ahead of our South African crew. They'll be joining us a little bit later on the safari. So we are an hour ahead. And we are EAT, East African time. So it's 3:30 East African time, 2:30 South African time. No, Central African time. That was a little bit South African centric. Central African time. Jamie, you're right. Djuma does need some of that rain. Actually, to be honest, Cape Town needs some of that rain. But it's starting to get very dry here as well, and the Mara River is really seriously looking, it's the lowest I've ever seen it. So I'm hoping it rains up towards the mountains, towards the source of the Mara River. Otherwise what's going to happen is hippo are really struggling for space. They are going to battle as the river shrinks and the pools get smaller and competition for space gets more intense. And what we're going to start seeing very soon, I think, is battle-scarred male hippos that have suffered as a result of the disappearing water. We see battle-scarred hippo often, but we're going to start seeing lots more of them if it doesn't rain soon. That looks like it's going to rain though. You know, it has been a bit of a selfish pleasure driving on dry roads just for a little while. Just for the last 2 weeks, it's been quite fun, which is why I'm going to the swamp. Alright, well, since it's no longer muddy, Brent obviously decided he wanted a challenge this afternoon. Let's go and see if he's managed to get through the forest.
Well, not quite yet. We're still trying to find a way through the very steep way from a bit further down. Now, Jamie last saw them, they were just over there. So I think they've just moved deeper into the shade. Oop, bouncy bounce. At the top of that forest there, it's pretty beautiful up here. Operate on, they're the lions. So we found the lions. Now it's getting to them. You see them there? Okay, in the shade there. I think I can get there. Now, it's not about it being muddy, me choosing to go certain places. Do you see them there? Left, center frame, down right a tiny bit. There's a line. At least we know my eyes still work as well. And I can actually think I can hear Blue Monkey's alarm calling as well. Unfortunately, it seems like
everyone. We had some issues with our stream, but it seems as though Martin, our tech genius in final control today, has managed to, fingers crossed, get them all sorted out. I think I've still gone on the wrong road. I'm going in the wrong direction. This happens to me every time I try and get there from this direction. I'm capable of finding the road out of the swamp. It's finding the one that goes into the swamp that is the difficult part. No. Are we really going in the wrong direction? James, I agree. So James says that he loves the swampy areas of the Mara because they're usually teeming with life. That's exactly why I'm going there. At the moment, the grassy plains are... How do I put this politely? Quiet. Very, very, very quiet. Very lacking in animals. But the swampy areas are not. And that's one of the reasons why we're going, well, in theory, going this way. I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm so annoyed. I cannot believe I've done this again. No, road. Go right. I mean left. very pleasant. Let's go back. Let's just admit defeat and go back. Sorry about this, everyone. Wrong road. I've only been here for 8 months. Wendy, the reserves rhino population is over 30 rhino now. Over 30 black rhino. It is a terrible, terrible shame that it is only black rhino. There are no white rhino here, and that's because there are no more white rhino here. The very last male northern white rhino is a male called Sudan. Is it Sudan? It's Sudan. And he is the last of his species, which is a very, very sad fact of life. So there are no white rhino here, even though there is, the habitat is exactly right for them. There's lots of red grass, which is one of their favorite grasses. Population of black rhino, and we see them every now and again. We're very happy that in the Mara we can actually show you rhino. It's one of the things that I was most excited about before I arrived here, with that prospect, because I love rhino and I love being able to share them or show them to other people. So there are, I think it's just over 30. I'm sure there's a more exact total known by the guys who, or the men who look. Those lions! That's what I said would happen. I did say it would happen. Brent has found the lions. Let's go and see what they've been up to since this morning's safari.
Well, they're not as hungry as they were, that's for sure. I can't see what they're eating just yet. But they've caught something that looks warthog-sized. But difficult to tell with what's left at the moment. Now, of course, the lions have a, or maybe a bit bigger than a warthog, or if it is a warthog, it's a very big warthog. But they have an audience, and as I said, I was almost certain that the lions were here because of all the noise I heard from higher up. And there we go, right next to them, watching them intently and shouting occasionally, is a big troop of olive baboons. I wonder what they've caught. I'd say they probably caught this not too long ago, probably an hour or two ago. It is a massive pride at the moment, 17 lions. These girls have to work very hard to keep them fed. Let's just go. I just want to go forward a little bit to try to see what they've caught. Now, Mary's asking if it is a warthog, will they have to hunt again because there's so many of them? Possibly, Mary. Unless it's a big male warthog. I'm just trying to have a look. Don't want to get too close to the edge. It is a warthog. Can you see there? Yes, you can. Okay, so if you, that cub that's closest to us there, it's just, its head's in the way there now. So if you zoom in, if that one moves, there we go, it moves its head. There, we should be able to see. It does look like a warthog. I just want to have another quick look to properly confirm. It looks like a very big warthog though, if it is a warthog. So yeah, else wanders close to them, they definitely would take that opportunity to hunt again. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows that they're around. Sorry, that little laugh you might have heard from me was about the baboons. They were being quite funny. Emma is wondering, would lions eat a baboon? Yes, indeed. If they could catch one, they most definitely would, Emma. But the baboons know they've got the safety of the trees, and I've seen them do this before and actually taunt the lions. Let's have a look at these baboons here quickly. They're being very, very funny. What are you doing? Yep. Keeping an eye on the lions, as well as taunting them a little bit. They know they're probably quite safe now with the lions eating this carcass. So some of the younger ones are just having a really great time. Look at this, look at the big one coming down. See, comes down a little bit, keeps watching the lions, keep watching the lions. That's it, look, you can see the lions, 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 lions. Okay, they're not going to come for me, I'm going to go down to the ground. Oh. He's almost, like, come, he's daring these two little boy cubs. Come on, chase me, chase me, chase me. Come on. So he's taunting. There's two young male lions, probably about 6-7 months old, that are watching them. They're not really showing any intent. Ah, but that is hilarious. Oh, so as I said, this was quite a recent kill, and now, or just at this very second, hooded vultures have arrived. And they weren't here when we arrived, so they've just spotted this. And as I said, this many lions. Yum, 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 yum. Oh, there's a bit of a lion fight. Let's go quickly to the lions. As this carcass gets less and less, you can see there's not the fullest bellies on all of them. We're going to have to wait and see to see who's managed to absolutely sate themselves. And you'll probably find that a lot of the cubs will be well fed, but the lionesses might not be. Okay, well, I think we're going to play the patience game here, see what else happens, and hopefully the girls will get hungry and on the move again in not too long. Also, we're in such a good spot that animals might actually stumble into them. But in the meantime, let's go see how Jamie's mission towards the Samaki Swamp is going.
I'm here and I'm so excited. There are so many elephants. It is just spectacular. I mean, if we have a brief look as we're driving up at the spread of elephants, it's just so wonderful. Sorry, I know I'm bumping around. I'll just briefly show you what we're on our way to. It must be, I don't know, 100 plus Ellies, probably a bit more. I'm excited. I just have to find my way there. And then I think we'll spend a substantial portion of the afternoon there. There's some lions over there, but let's go to the Ellies and come back to the lions. The reason that the grass here is shorter than the other place is it is a different type of soil, and it is actually a different type of grass that grows in these areas. Oh, there's no road here. Oh, it was deeper than I expected. So it's a completely different type of grass. This whole area is you know how we've spoken about those drainage those soggy areas around the base of the hill. This whole area really accumulates most of the water as it flows towards the Mara River, as it drains towards the Mara River. And the end result is that you get a different type of soil deposit and then an entirely different type of grass. And that is why, partly because the animals eat it, and partly because it's a different species, that we see more animals here and that we spend, or the grass is just that much shorter. There's never a road in the direction I want to go. This is so frustrating. I want to go that way, but I can't, unless I maybe go all the way around. Let's try that. We'll get there eventually. Faith, could you do me an enormous favor? Could you please ask Brent if he shut the tent? Because that storm is coming. I'm not sure I like the look of it. Thanks, Alice. Thank you, Alice. Much appreciated. Alice is going to go and check. Thanks, Alice. Brent says that he didn't shut the tent. Melody, if you planted this grass at home, would it grow? Yes, probably. Kikuyu grass is one of the famous species of garden or lawn grass that grows in, or that obviously Kikuyu comes from Kenya. And it's something that will grow quite easily on lawns. This is not Kikuyu grass, but it does look like a similar species while I'm looking at it. And yes, I think it probably would grow if you tended to it properly and carefully and gave it a fair amount of water, because as you know, I've just spoken about how this is a marshy area. Yes, I think it would grow. Whereas the red grass or the panicum grass, I think would probably struggle in certain environments. Depends where home is for you, Melody, because the other thing is just how cold it is. Certain grass species are not geared to cope with the cold. And while it is relatively temperate here, it never gets much below 10 degrees. So if you come from an area with a very snowy climate, I think you'd find that it would really struggle. I wonder who you are now. Kev, while we look at the mystery lions in front of us, you want to know if there are any Gerenics in the Mara? No, there are not, unfortunately. I've been to Savo, where we saw them. So Savo is sort of halfway between Nairobi and Mombasa. If I could sort of give you a rough idea as to where it is. A Gerenic, for those of you who do not know, looks like an extended antelope. It looks like a stretched out antelope. It's got a very, very long neck, and they are famous for standing on their hind legs and reaching up to the leaves of trees. This, I assume, is the Mara River Pride. Flop. Not one of the marsh breakers. This was where I first got myself into trouble by saying that this was, when I stopped at these lions here, I said they were some lions, and somebody corrected me and said no, they were the marsh breakaways. And then I found the marsh breakaways most definitely with the cubs, closer towards Little Governors and that lugger, and they're usually there. Do you see any cubs here? Does anyone see any cubs here? I don't see any cubs. I do see another lion though. Just realised there's another lion there, under the tree to the left. That big tree. There she is, in a different patch of shade. Unfortunately, just so that you know, this is one of the areas where we cannot off-road. It's a non-off-roading area. You can imagine why that would be the case. Right next to a swamp. Could do some really serious environmental damage by off-roading in the wrong place. So that's why we are as distant from these lionesses as we are. 3 lionesses, I don't know who they are. Okay. I really am going to try and get to those elephants, or get a little bit closer to those elephants. We'll come back to these lions later, but Brent has managed to get far closer to the Olololos than I have. Let us go and rejoin him.
Well, there is almost nothing left, and quite a few of the lions have given up on even trying to grab little scraps off that poor pig, and are dozing in the shade. And as I said, there's quite a lot of game around us, and on the edge of this forested area, it's quite pretty. I was hoping we might get some birds in here while we're sitting with the Orions. I did see a paradise flycatcher, but now it's fluttered off, and they should be back. As you can see, some ones there. The cubs are still really watching the baboons and are running around below them. The baboons have sort of given up on the taunting, but they're not too far off. You can see some of them just sitting there, and some of the little ones are playing around. Oh, let's have a look at this one on the tree. Where is he? There, that one. He's still taunting the cubs. Look at that. He's taunting the lion cubs. It's like, I dare you, come chase me. And he's quite safe where he is. It'd be very impressive if a lion managed to catch a baboon with how far they would have to travel. Cheeky. Look at him. Tristan is wondering, would the baboons eat any scraps once the lions... It's possible, Tristan, but I think the lions are going to be here still quite a bit later, and by then the baboons will want to be already at the tree they're going to roost in, or where they're going to roost for the evening. So probably not. And you can hear some of them barking away. There we go, there's a bit of de-ticking or de-fleeing going on over there. Now there's quite a lot of very important little social bonds in a baboon group that allo grooming reaffirms, and there's hierarchies for both male and female baboons within a troop, and low-ranking females will sometimes carry favor with higher-ranking males by being submissive, de-ticking them, bringing them food presents. Offers them some protection from the other higher-ranking females that are quite often can be. Well, there's quite a lot of bullying that goes on in baboon society. Tom is wondering, would baboons eat lion cubs? Yes, if they found lion cubs that were all by themselves and away from the adults, young cubs, so under 3 months, yes, they would almost certainly eat the cubs. I'm just going to try move a little bit again. You can see a bit more of the lions. That is a big storm coming, and I forgot to close the tent. Naughty Brent. Fortunately, Alice is going to go close it for us. Thank you, Alice. Now there we go. Look, the lionesses are by no means full. He has one walking in. So even though they did the hard work of catching this big pig, they are by no means full. He's talking. Oh. Oh, we've got another bird that's arrived. I've got a tawny eagle. Another one of the scavenging birds that's just managed to pop through. Oop, I can't even see my monitor. There we go. Sun, there we go. Hello, tawny. We've been trying to get a view of the warthog. I'm pretty sure, just based on the size of the spine and whatnot, that it was a big male warthog. Let's just move again a little bit. Francis from Israel is wondering, where are the hyenas? Probably still napping somewhere, Francis. There we go. I can see there now, there's one lioness lying close. So I can see 3 lionesses. I'm sure the 4th one is just flat in the grass. Oh, there she is. She's in front of us. Yes, so we've got all 4 lionesses. These are quite spread out. And you can see they are eating now the remnants of the warthog's head, and the one in the front. There's a fair-sized pig. Oof, arguments going on in the back there. Over a foot, by the looks of things. Hi, Tomlin. Tomlin is a brand new viewer, so welcome to Safari Live, Tomlin. Tomlin is wondering, are we safe this close to the lions? Yes, we are. We're completely safe here, Tomlin. They're probably about 5 meters from us, but when we're in a vehicle, they don't actually see the human being. It's a big smelly thing that smells like diesel and oil and brake fluid and clutch fluid. And as long as we drive carefully and respectfully, the animals accept us in this close to them, as long as we're not trying to push in and steal their food or driving and putting pressure on them. And you can see they're very relaxed. The big female's got her eyes completely closed. She is not plussed at all that we are this close to her and her offspring. And her dinner. Or what's left of it, and there's very little left of it. Ooh, you're going to go start causing a fight, mister? Or are you going to flop down? Let's just wait a little second. Now, often, if that young male goes back in to try to get a piece of the carcass, he might have an argument with some of the others. Now, lions over carcasses can be very violent with each other. Here we can see definitely a warthog now as well. Big male. There we go. Can hear the growling as he came closer. Arr, 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 arr. But no, it looks like he might have had his fill. So as I said, I think we'll wait here a little bit longer. I'm hoping that the girls still get up and go hunting, because they didn't get much of a feed, even though the cubs did. Let's go see where Jamie's off to now.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm just taking in the breathtaking scene in front of us. 200 elephants? Maybe a little bit more? How many would you say, Adrian? 200? Or more.
The others behind us that are not in the census.
This is true. There are others behind us that are not in the census. Adrian raises a very good point. Let's take a second to take this in. There is another reason why I've rushed here, and that's because if the storm hits, which it's going to, we're going to have to be out of here before it does, because it will turn this entire place back into a swamp, and we will be in serious trouble. We won't be able to get out again. We've seen how it can rain. Oh, wow. It was worth it, though, for this view. I wonder if they do this every year, if there's an instinctive drive to come to the swampy area at this time of year? I'm sure there must be. Do they gather together? Do they meet other herds for the first time in forever? I wonder if the little calves get excited at the prospect of new friends. I mean, I know that's a very anthropomorphic way to look at it, but I've seen elephants greet their friends before. Jamie says that there are so many color layers. I've spoken about this before, about every time I look at this view it's different, but it is. This is the sort of color scheme that would make a graphic designer very, very happy, or an artist, or somebody more creative than myself. I just look at it with my own two eyes and I love it. It's just too stunning. And the elephants look small. They look dwarfed by the immense surroundings. Not something that one would ever expect to say about elephants. Sure. Tomlin would like to know if this is one big pride or if it is a variety of families. It is a variety of herds. So lions have prides. Ostriches, interestingly enough, are collectively termed a pride sometimes. But elephants we refer to as herds, and it will be a collection of different herds. So they'll probably, if we look at the herd on the right, that would be your basic unit. So up a little bit closer to us, that is your basic unit of an elephant herd. There's probably about 5 or 6 adult females and a couple of little ones wandering about with them. So that would be your basic herd unit, up to about 20 elephants, possibly even 30 elephants in a really big herd. And then they all gather together in this way in a sort of a communal setting. And they're not territorial. There's no battle over land or resources. They just all get on perfectly well. The only time there's ever any upset is if there's a big male elephant that starts to harass the females. But the basic unit is a couple of adult females and a couple of calves as well. And then lone males or groups of males wandering about together. And this whole place is dotted with water holes or mud. Oof, David, it's a difficult one. David's wondering about how elephants decide who will be the matriarch. It's almost invariably the oldest female. And the reason for that is because she's the most experienced of the group, and she's had up to 40, 50 years to gain that experience and to learn from the matriarch before her. How elephants decide? Well, that's a difficult question. We don't really know exactly what goes on in their heads when a matriarch becomes the matriarch, when she becomes the matriarch. There is a point at which the matriarch gets to be the real leader of the herd, and it most likely will be her daughter or a younger sister that will step up and start to take leadership responsibilities more and more frequently before you find a matriarch is formed. Matriarchs, I think, are created by necessity rather than groomed from birth or something like that. It's interesting. Because although we always talk about the matriarchs of an elephant herd, and certainly there is a matriarch, it is more that they are led by the oldest females. So females from the same sort of generation. And they could be sisters, they could be cousins, but they're around about the same age, usually over the age of 40, and they take responsibility for the protection of the entire herd. The decision... What's this elephant doing over here? Ow. Ow. Car just bit me. I hit my elbow on it. I was on the funny bone. Oh, my hand's gone all tingly. This elephant was busy waving its head about. There's one lying down there as well. Just having the best time. What are we talking about? Females. So Fiona, there comes the next question, which is how many males are there in the herd? As I said, the basic unit of an elephant herd, there'll be only young males that are prepubescent, that have not yet reached the age of sexual maturity. And then within this massive grouping, there are probably about 6 or 7 really big bulls, possibly even more younger bulls. It's hard at this distance to actually tell exactly how many we've got here. I'm looking to see, because bulls usually tower over the females, so I'm looking to see if I can spot any standout males. This is so utterly stunning. You can see how the shadows are advancing though, as the clouds move closer to us. I'm just going to go up a little bit further ahead to get to this elephant herd that's up ahead of us, because they're quite close to the road. It's very easy to see why off-roading, apart from the damage it could do, why off-roading is not allowed here. This whole area is pitted with almost invisible mud wallows, and I think that if it were open to off-roading, apart from the damage it would do, people would spend their lives being pulled out of the swamp. We're gonna have, once the rain hits Brent, then I think that will be our cue to start driving back to more solid ground, because it'll take me quite a while to get out of here. You know that I still haven't managed to answer your question about gestation periods and life expectancy. As I heard your name, I realized that's something I forgot about from weeks and weeks ago, months ago. It somehow slipped through the cracks, and I never actually answered your question on that. I apologize, I forgot completely. I'll try and work it out for you when I have a little bit of, if and when I have a little bit of time. Carl asked me a question about life expectancy, relative life expectancy and gestation periods. But Umkar's question now is there a possibility of herds merging? There is a possibility of that happening, but actually it's not so much they're merging as related elephant herds are coming back together again. So sometimes when an elephant herd gets too large, it actually splits away, and you find that a matriarch forms in the split herd, in the separate split herd, and they move off and they move away, but they often don't go too far away from the parent herd, if I could phrase it like that. So they'll come back together again. They'll often meet and associate with each other. So it is not necessarily a permanent split. Sometimes they do come back together. And what you'll often find is that elephant herds who are related to each other, or at least have a very similar home range, will often spend time together. So they'll often come and associate with each other. You'll see it especially in South Africa. You'll get the same herds associating with each other at certain times of the year, particularly when resources are a little bit scarce. This is just so lovely. They've all come down around this little sort of offshoot of the Mara River. I'm wondering if there's a nice concentration of minerals around here. So I'm going to sit patiently here, I think, until the weather forces my hand and I have to leave. So while we sit here patiently, I know Brent is playing the patience game as well. Let's go and find out. The Lolos are sleeping off their warthog meal.
Well, they are. Some of them are still chewing on their warthog meal. The others, with this impeding, the storm that's about to hit us, and I think we don't have too much longer before we're going to have to close up the sides. They seem to be enjoying the cold weather. There's lots of grooming going on. One is calling from somewhere down here in front of us, and it looks like they're actually going to get on the move again right now. Now Matt is wondering, is there a hierarchy in feeding when they're on the pig? Look how close she is. And Matt, whoever's the most hungry, most strong, and most willing to beat the other up when it comes, the adults, females, will to a degree let the cubs eat more than them, but the cubs are starting to get to the age where they will get beaten up just as if they were any other lion at the moment. Oh, there's the one that's calling. Is that a cub calling all the way down there? I can just hear it. I don't know if you can. They're a very talkative pride, which is always nice. Still making noise. I have managed to count all 17, so the whole pride is here. And you should start hearing the wind now. As I said, the ladies, the adult females, are not very full. And the little ones have had a decent meal. Oh, growly, growly, growly. That young male who's got the warthog heads growling at anyone who comes near him. You know, fighting with mom. Doesn't want to share. And as I said, the females have had very little of that carcass. Now, it's very common lion behavior to sort of try to lie on top of the carcass to make sure no one else can get any. Tom is wondering, do lions ever demonstrate cannibalistic behavior? Yes, Tom. Normally with males that kill cubs or females during a pride takeover, sometimes they will eat the lions that they kill. It is not that common, but it does happen. It's not considered unusual with lions, so it does happen from time to time. The wind is getting so strong you can barely hear those growls, and those growls are quite loud. Now remember, this is 100% live. Melody is wondering, could the Olololos take a buffalo? We've seen them take down baby buffalo. They've eaten a few baby buffalo, but I'd say it is possible for them to take down an adult buffalo, but they don't seem to like going for buffalo. Okay, here we go. Get ready. Could be a little explosion again. Now one of the females is off on the move. Let's just wait a little bit and I'll go see where she's off to. They might take advantage of this weather that's coming in, this strong wind, and if it rains a bit as well, to hide their stalk. you can see that. Not completely fat, but they've definitely had a bit of a meal. Okay, I want to see where that female's going to. She was on top of this termite mound, then she sort of disappeared that way. No, she's just flopped down. No, one is up and on the move, heading out towards the grasslands again. So there's two lionesses back with the cubs. There's one lying here and one heading into the trees. There we go. You can just see her in here. Where she disappeared to. There she is. Isn't that pretty amongst those trees? The second lioness is up as well, heading towards her. So I think maybe we should follow them. And as I say, I'm not sure how much time we've got before the storm hits us. Now, look at that. Oh, did you see that? Oh dear. She got such a fright. The wind blew a branch down off the tree and it nearly fell on her. Well, there's one of the young males looking like following. But okay, I'm going to try negotiate my way through these trees to see if these girls are going to hunt again. While I do that, let's send you back to Jamie and some airlies.
I know at some point I'm going to need to start fleeing, but I just can't bring myself to leave yet. There's just so much happening here. There's so many entertaining things. We've got young males who've been pushing and shoving each other backwards and forwards. There we go again. The guy on the right actually doesn't really want to play, but the other two are actually picking on him. He's a little bit smaller than they are, and they've been pushing him backwards and forwards, and typical male elephant behavior, or young male elephant behavior. Oh, now he's got a piece of grass. Yes, that's a lovely piece of grass. That can't have been a lovely piece of grass. I can't believe you ate that. Yuck. Yuck. With all this nice fresh green grass around. And that was the piece that you chose. I've been just sitting watching the dynamics and all the while listening to the slurping. And I really cannot describe it in any other way, of about 100 elephants having a drink every now and again. It sounds like somebody who's just been allowed a milkshake for the first time in 10 years, and then they've finished it and they're sucking through the straw still. Unfortunately, a little bit too far away for me to be able to demonstrate to you, or at least for Adrian to be able to demonstrate to you. But there's so much to watch at gatherings like this. First Lady Shah, yes, the elephants will trumpet when they find danger or when they're annoyed. And what they also can do is emit a very high, actually surprisingly high-pitched scream that was, if I remember correctly, some of those vocalizations have been used in were used in Jurassic Park for some of the dinosaur noises. So elephants actually have quite a wide range of vocalization. The standard trumpeting sound, sorry Adrian, look at these two. Oh, no wait, actually, I don't know which one to look at. I don't know which one to look at. We were two youngsters playing straight through there on the left, and then there's the older ones there. I don't know which ones to look at. Okay, quickly, we'll look at those two little ones through the trees, but to the right and up a little bit. There. These two, who are having a display off with their triangles. Hello. Hello. We're about to have a really lovely moment. Let's have a look here, Adrian. They're coming. So they've got a wide range of vocalizations, one of which was the rumble that I just heard, coming up from the right of us. And here comes the whole herd. What you saying? See how in that case a youngster is actually leading or walking in front, and then the biggest female in the group, or one of the biggest females in the group, and she'll be shortly followed by back up. Whoa, I found a nice piece of grass. I'm going to stop right here. Oh, they smell so lovely. Everybody's talking today. Let's just listen to see if this herd responds. Watch out, youngster, or you will find yourself with more than grass on your head. Here we go. 2 large females bringing up the rear. Do you know, I think this might be the same herd that came right up close to us a couple of weeks ago, where the little babies nearly touched the front of the car. Okay, so, Faith, I'm sorry, I got distracted by our walk by because it's just so lovely, and I missed who actually answered the question, but it's a very, very good question. Noriko is wondering about how you can tell the difference between a baby bull and a baby calf. No? What? A calf? Really? That was profound. A young male calf or a young female calf, because while the differences are easily apparent within adult females and adult males, it's actually not that easy when you first see youngsters. So what I'm going to try and do, essentially, if you imagine, I'm going to have to demonstrate with my hands, and then I'll try and demonstrate by looking at one of the calves. If you imagine the back legs coming up like this, does that make sense? The inside of the back legs. In males, in between that is a V shape, and that's obviously the penis sheath. And then in females, it's a sort of a squarish. It's a sort of a squarish shape. So it makes a U rather. So if I'll show you now what I mean, it'll make a little bit more sense. Oh, here comes the storm. No, go away. I want to stay with the Ellies. I'd be very silly to, though. Let's take that baby over there as a good example, because we're about to get a rear view. So let's take the youngster over there. Oh, thanks a lot, Ellie. Okay, no, we're good. So what we have over there looks to me like a young male. That looks like a young male. See how it sort of goes down into a V? Whereas if you look... it's actually tricky to tell now. I need a better example. Because that's not a male, that's female. I need a better example. I need a clearer example when they're not so far away from us. Oh, look at this elephant here on the termite mound. Or not so much on the termite mound, on the bank. Bit melodramatic, are we? On the right there. This one. Oh, this is just having the best time. It's been involved in a battle. It has now collapsed dramatically out of there. Up we get. Come on, up you get. Elephants are quite agile. Even the adults can lie flat, but they do occasionally take a little while to get back up again. I need a good example to demonstrate. I've actually got pictures, but not with me, to demonstrate exactly what I mean in terms of the shape of the genitals. One thing to remember are internal. So there's no visible testicles. They sit up near the kidneys. Look at this. I love the little baby on the left there. It's to play, but really not quite old enough to do so. Come on, go find somebody your own age. There's plenty. There are plenty of options. You're a little bit too young to play with the teenagers. Yes, now look, you vanished. Where did you go? Guys, I'm sorry, I think I need to run. I don't want to, but I think I need to run. I'll see how much longer I can stretch it. Let's go back across to Brent and find out whether the storm's hit him yet.
It hasn't hit us just yet, but it is getting closer. And most of the lions have moved away from where they were with that, well, the remnants of a poor piggy. And they've decided to just stop here. Oh, you can hear the others calling still. Ooh. So the others are directly behind them in there somewhere. So I think slowly but surely the rest of the pride should move out to where we are here. About the wind that we are experiencing. Is it cool or warm? It's actually quite cool, Dale, quite chilly, and probably because there's a lot of rain coming with it. Now, I'll stay here for as long as possible, but I'm in between a couple of little river systems, and they flood very quickly and very easily. So I might have to abandon the lions in a little while if they don't move away from this area. Now there are buffalo around, and as I said, this pride doesn't really hunt buffalo too often, so you can see them through the trees there. It's the same herd that Jamie's been looking at with that little baby and I can't see the little ones yet, but they are moving up towards this area, and you can see, because of these little river systems, how lovely and green the grass is. That's what's attracting the buffalo and the warthog and lots of other animals here, which makes it a perfect sort of ambush site for the lions. Now, with this wind swirling like this, it's unlikely that the buffalo are aware that the lions are up here. But a big herd of this might even chase this pride of lions. I've seen this pride of lions chased by buffalo not very far from here. Quite a while ago, but I have seen it happen here. There we go, you can see. Can't see any little ones yet. But there are young ones, sub-adults, babies within the herd. But buffalo herds will often come back to the rescue of their youngsters or even adult members of the pride that are attacked by lions. Michael's wondering, can we smell the rain? I can actually smell the rain, Michael. I don't think it's too far from me at the moment. The storm is coming in from behind us here, and from over there as well. So it might blow past the back of us, but at the moment it does look like it's unfortunately going to hit us. But we'll just wait it out, see what happens. As I said, there's two little streams, and we're right in the middle of them. And if it does start raining quite hard, we're going to have to get across to the other side to make sure we don't get stuck here. Let's see if any of the other lions are on their way yet. No. Still probably feeding off the remnants of that warthog. We've got 2 adult lionesses here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubs. So about half the pride, or just under half the pride. And a little watching the buffalo. Dale is wondering, will lions seek shelter during heavy rain? They will try, but they generally will just hunker down wherever they might be to protect themselves from the rain. Oh, but while our lions are being lazy, and well, we never know what's going to happen next, so we're going to stick it out a little longer. Let's go across to Jamie with some playful elephants.
I couldn't bring myself to leave yet. We're still here. We might regret it, but I doubt it. And our two young elephants that we were watching earlier are now, the one is chasing the other around. They've been really seriously battling. It actually got to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if they potentially injure each other slightly. Nothing too serious, but the normal scrapes and bruises of childhood. What the one on the left is trying to do is actually mount the other one as a display of dominance, this natural instinct, and the other one is just not having it. Goes to say, oh, hello. Goodness gracious, I didn't even realize there were elephants right next to us. Hi, guys. Hello. I'm going to start being careful as the storm edges nearer because the wind is howling, which does tend to put them slightly more on edge. I just couldn't quite bring myself to leave yet. If we're really lucky, the storm's just going to blow right past us and we'll be absolutely fine. Oh, here's a really good example. One on the left. There we go. That is a female. And it's difficult to really explain without a picture, but essentially that's the female's labia. So it doesn't, you don't have it, the penis sheath of the young males actually extends slightly tucked down under, sort of towards the belly, whereas that is a good example, or that was a good example of a female. Now that is a good example of a male. There you go. That's what I've been trying to demonstrate. So that is one of the ways that you can tell the difference between a male and a female at a young age. See that? You can actually sort of see the shape of the female's genitals, whereas the penis sheath of the male hides it quite effectively underneath, tucked under towards the belly. There we go. That's what I've been trying to show you. I was trying to get a good demonstration of the two of them side by side, and those elephants very conveniently obliged for us. Other ways for our new viewers that you can tell the difference between males and female elephants. In the female elephants, that their mammary glands are slightly enlarged, even if they're not lactating. So that's between their front legs, and their foreheads are quite angular, as opposed to the rounded foreheads of an adult male elephant. Tusk size will not work. Make mistakes if you try to use tusk size as a demonstration or as an indication of whether an elephant is a male or a female. Some male elephants have skinny, small tusks, and some females have large tusks. So it is not a reliable way of determining the sex of an elephant. And sometimes they have no tusks. Hey, Alana. It's lovely to hear your name again. Alana is 14 years old, and I actually haven't heard Alana's, or I haven't had a question from Alana in a little while. I haven't answered one. Alana, the Tuskless gene is one that is genetic, and it can be passed on mother to daughter, which is why you'll often find where you do have a tuskless elephant in a herd, you'll usually have more than one. So it occurs naturally in around about 4% of elephants in the wild, and unfortunately it is something that we as human beings have actually selected for, and in fact ultimately changed that natural wild occurring percentage right up to, I think in some places, even 30 to 40% of the elephant population. Why? Poachers. So poachers have gone for the elephants with the tusks. The tuskless elephants have generally been the ones to survive, and as a result they have passed on that genetic trait. So it's not a it might have started as a mutation, but it is something that is genetically passed on from the I don't know if I don't think it's a sex-linked gene. In other words, I don't think it's either passed on by the female or the male. Well, it's definitely not passed on by the male, because I've seen lots of females without tusks. No, wait, that's not right. It could be passed on by the male. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea which gene the tuskless gene is found on, or the tusk gene. Oh, look. Check over there. To the right. Oh, you don't stop. These the two there. But to the left. There, these two. The one finally accomplished its goal of climbing onto the back of the other one. And of course we weren't watching you two, huh? Alex, yes, there are 2 species of elephant in Africa. That is the recent conclusion of the researchers. So there was a lot of debate as to whether or not forest elephants qualified as a subspecies or a species. Determined that they are in fact a species of elephant. So that would mean that you get the African savanna or the African bush elephant, which are the elephants we're looking at now, and you get the African forest elephant, which are the ones that, if you have a look at our Congo recce video, were seen in the Republic of Congo. He's so cute. Tiva, is disease, did I hear that correctly, Faith? Is disease a significant elephant killer? Oh, foot disease. Sorry, I'm distracted by this elephant who's now actually managed to get his opponent right down to the ground. Is foot disease a big killer of elephants? I shouldn't be laughing as I talk about something like that. No, it's not really a big killer of elephants at all. It does occasionally happen, but it is far more common in captive bred elephants. And one thing that's very interesting is that captive elephants are more likely to get arthritis as well. In fact, only captive bred elephants really get arthritis. And by foot disease, I am assuming you mean infections of the foot, especially around these swampy areas. But forgive me if I have misunderstood your question. Aww. What a lovely question from Sarah, who is 5 years old. Sarah, should we get a little bit closer to these playful elephants? Come. You come with me, and we'll get a bit closer, and I'll answer your question. Sarah, who is 5 years old, would like to know who owns Africa. Sarah, the African people own Africa, but it's more complicated than that. So Africa is a really, really big place. It's got lots of different countries. So just like there's the United States, there's Canada, and there's England and France, and all of the countries in Europe, and all of the countries in South America and Asia. In Africa, there are lots and lots of different countries. 53? More than that. I was actually trying to remember. So there are lots of different countries in Africa, and they are, you know how you can't really own a country? Well, you can't really own Africa either. But there are people in Africa from lots of different countries, and I guess in a way you could say that they own Africa. But these animals and these wild places, they belong to the African people and to all of us. We have to take responsibility for for protecting them. This is meant to be a serious answer, but it's very difficult to be serious when you've got baby elephants throwing grass at each other. You two are just full of nonsense. Here you go. I shall anoint you with this piece of grass. And now I shall throw grass at you. No, I shall throw it on my own head. Look what I could do with my trunk. Yeah, well, you're not that cool, because I can do it too. Foiled. Your attempt has been foiled. A lot of the time they're only pretending to eat. It's displacement behavior. It's a tactic. You don't actually want to eat that grass. Did you fall down? You just fall down for no reason. You did. You did fall down for no reason. It's the elephant equivalent of puppy play bowing. Oh, cute. Keep throwing grass on your head. All the other elephants are doing it. It's what all the cool kids do. You two are going to sleep so well in a bit. They're still young enough that they'll sleep for quite extended periods of time. Just gonna hold off a little bit longer, if you don't mind, Faith, just to see what these two scamps get up to. Okay, have you two calmed down now? Yes, no? Maybe. Maybe a little bit. Or are you just pretending? I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at you. I'm walking away. I'm not looking at you. You definitely shouldn't try and tackle me from behind. Okay. Alright, I think our youngsters have sort of calmed for now. I don't think they're done playing yet. Let's go and rejoin Brent with his olololos.
Well, they marched all the way out to the edge of the forest. Now I've marched all the way straight back to where they were, and are trying to get the tiniest little scraps off that poor piggy. That just shows you how hungry the adults are, and there's a good chance that they might hunt again. So I think we're in the right spot, and we're just going to have to wait it out. Now, at this time of the day, especially with it getting darker earlier because of the approaching storm, there's always a chance that another warthog might inadvertently wander through this area on its way back to its burrow. Well, if you're an lion, you're really hoping so, at least. Just hear that every now and then there's a really loud spate of growling, but most of it quite quiet at the moment, and a lot of that sort of really big aggression has calmed down as the food has almost completely disappeared. bit anymore. It's pretty much nothing. But there we go. As I said, every now and then you get those little bouts of growls. Well, Matt's wondering, do they eat all the bones? No, not all of them, Matt, but anyone that's small enough for them to crush up, they will. But it is the skull and some of the bigger vertebrae will be too big for them to be able to eat. But any bone that they can, they definitely will. There we go. Are we going to have a little bit more of an argument now? You can just hear, and a lot of those growls are coming from cubs. There we go. That's an adult lioness just seeing off one of the little girls. Now, Atul is wondering, are there any physical differences between the lions in the Mara and the lions in Djuma? I'd say probably, the Djuma lions are a bit taller, but I'd say the Mara lions are heavier. So they generally, because of that migration period where they're just literally fat all the time, they are able to really take advantage of all that food. But I don't know, very difficult to see physical differences itself, but I'd say maybe the Mara lions are a bit heavier and the Djuma lions a bit taller. That's about what I can think of. I can't really see any other physical differences. Now they're all really tucked in there now as that food gets less and less. There's a sort of calm, and as I say, I've got a feeling that the females, especially with this windy weather, might take advantage of the weather to go hunting again. Hence why we are playing our patience game here. Nelly is wondering, is there something like rocks, trees? No, when it comes to mammals and even reptiles, they'll pretty much eat anything if they're hungry enough. So no, there's nothing really they don't eat. And also it all depends on opportunity. So I mean, they don't really eat elephants, but if there's an injured elephant or an elephant carcass, they will definitely eat elephant then. So as I said, it just all depends on the situation. But no, there's no real meat that a lion will not eat. Even the most vile, rotting stuff you can imagine, they will still eat that. You can hear that wind coming. I think we might be lucky. I'm really hoping that we're going to be lucky that the wind blows the storm away from us. But normally, in my experience out here, we don't get lucky that often when it comes to these big storms. I'm going to wait here a bit longer. I've still got that sort of inkling that the girls are going to get up and start hunting again. Hopefully they move in an area where it's going to be easy for me to follow them, but we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, Jamie is still with those incredible pachyderms.
elephant just made the strangest sound I have ever heard an elephant make, ever. It went, ah. The one on the left, the one that lay down. I've never ever heard an elephant do that in my entire life. It was too sweet. And by the way, I think we're going to be fine with this storm after all of my melodrama of needing to race away from it. I think it's going to blow away completely. So we haven't had to rush off anywhere. We've got to sit with these two little ones as they continue their wrestling match. Equally sized, or almost equal in size. Pretty well matched in strength. This has been a really serious wrestling match. I can't believe they're still going on. I think the little one is really the instigator here. Look at it. The one at the back just wants to get away. My favourite thing is the way that they both nonchalantly pretend to turn their backs on each other and then immediately swing around ready to go. It's both ridiculous and endearing. Neither's quite willing to give up. Sure, little chap on the left giving it everything he's got. If these were children, some adult somewhere would be about to say that this is going to end in tears. But baby elephants are slightly tougher. And just so you know, in a few short minutes we will also be welcoming some schools on board. And today they are 10 and 13 years old. That's wonderful, 10 to 13 years old, so not as young as our usual group of children. That'll be lovely. I hope these boys are still playing like this when they arrive, when they join us. Okay, so it's all drama this afternoon. We've got elephants play fighting and lions fighting for real as they fight over what's left of the carcass.
Well, there's the adult lioness trying to keep what's left away from what looks to be one of the young boys, and it was quite aggressive a little while ago. It seems to have calmed down a little bit again. You can see she's just chewing on the rib cage. And you can see from the warthog. But as I said, there's almost nothing left now. But this pride is almost permanently hungry these days, without the migration being around. And the warthog population in this area has definitely taken a bit of a dent over the last few months. This female here has managed to just get a tiny piece of a leg. So what she's doing is she's breaking open those bones and trying to get to the marrow on the inside. It is amazing we are able to spend as much time with the big cats as we do. Oh, there we go. That's the last adult lioness, and they're trying to get a tiny scrap of food. As I said, there's not much left. I think as soon as these tiny scraps are done, they'll be out and on the move again. Okay, well, we wait and continue to play our patience game here. Let's go across to see what Jamie's up to.
I haven't moved. I haven't moved pretty much all afternoon. And I would like to extend a very special warm welcome to those of you who have joined us on some of the other social media platforms. It is wonderful to be able to share this incredible sight with you as we sit and take you on a safari live from both the Masai Mara in Kenya as well as the greater Kruger area in South Africa. So remember, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is how you can get hold of us. However, we are going to be taking some kids on a school drive this afternoon. So what that means is that for the next hour, we will be answering their questions. And once we have finished with that hour, then you keep sending through your questions and we will move on to them after that. So on that, a very warm welcome and my sincerest apologies if I say this wrong, but welcome to Linville Edam Elementary as well as to Spofford Pond. Kids joining us this afternoon. It is wonderful to have you, and I'm so glad that these two elephants are being as entertaining as they have been the whole afternoon. Now, my name is Jamie, and this afternoon a gentleman called Adrian is on camera with me, and essentially what we try and do is take you on a live safari. So my understanding is that the kids joining us today this is your very first time on safari. So we are live from Kenya, and we've been sitting with these awesome little elephants. There's actually we guessed in the end, about 200 elephants in the area that we are in. And because this is a live safari, for you guys it's the morning, for us here in Kenya it is late evening. No, that's not true. It's early evening. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is happening right here and right now. So you can actually send through your questions and we will be able to answer them. So you kind of have to imagine that you're on safari with us, but it gives you an opportunity to ask any questions you would like to ask. These two have been so entertaining over the last, I would say the last hour or so. It's two young bull elephants that I would put at around about 3 years old, maybe about 3.5, and they are really truly feeling boisterous this afternoon. While all of the other adult elephants are busy feeding and relaxing, these two have been testing out their strength against each other for a long time. It's the ears out. It's so cute, trying to make themselves look big and scary. Of course, at this age, they're not all that scary, but Nathaniel, you want to know if I'm ever scared of being attacked by an animal. I'm not, because I do know that most of these animals have grown up seeing safari vehicles, so they don't see us as a threat, and they don't see us as food, but we are very, very careful, and we're always watching. We never take it for granted, because they are wild animals. We're always watching the way that they behave, to make sure that we never get too close to them to make them uncomfortable or in any way to feel like they have to attack us. So we're always constantly aware of that. There is a really, really very, very infinitesimally small chance that we could be attacked. We are much safer out here than most people in most big cities around the world. So it's not as though the animals have it in for us. They can reason, they do reason, and they will only attack if they feel the need to. And what we do is we avoid giving them any kind of reason to get angry with us. An elephant is probably potentially one of the most dangerous animals out here, and they have been known to chase cars and sometimes to push cars over, especially when the people are driving badly around them, speeding or not behaving very well, making their babies feel threatened. That's when elephants are most likely to get irritated enough to attack. But we don't need to be afraid here. Everybody's body language is perfectly relaxed. Everybody is now chilled out on a Tuesday. Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? I don't know what day it is. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, on a Tuesday afternoon. Thank you very much, Adrian. It happens out here. We don't do weekends, therefore we don't know what day of the week at any one point in time. I think our youngsters are finally tired of fighting. I think that they have got to the point where they've played themselves to exhaustion, and they're now just enjoying some well-earned grass. Are you two done? Or are you going to throw it onto your head again? You're going to throw it onto your head again? You're not meant to throw it on your head, you're meant to eat it. Yes, that's right. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's how you do it. They keep throwing grass onto their heads. I don't know why. They seem to somehow think that it's intimidating. It's very funny to watch, though. There you go. Oh, we're going back. Are we going back again? No. No, your play buddy's gone now. He's left you. He's left you. Oh no. Doesn't want to play anymore. Quick, quick. Off you go to catch up. That's an adult elephant in the back there. Are you two going to seriously carry on? Jeb, out here in... Oh, no, we're not done. We are definitely not done. Jeb, out here in the Mara, we see elephants, we see lions, we see leopards every now and again, lots and lots of antelope, lots of hippo, crocodiles, lots of different species of birds, warthog, zebra, giraffe. I'm sure there are more animals, but you think a hyena? And on Djuma, they'll see, or Djuma, which is in South Africa, they will also see lots of very similar animals. So we see frogs occasionally, lots of insects, baboons, monkeys. What else what have I missed out? Rhinos, elephants, lion, leopard, hippopotamus. Said all those things, haven't I? Those are the animals. We see lots and lots of elephant, lots of antelope, and we're very fortunate in that we see most of the wonderful animals that the African wilderness has to offer. Much harder for us to find leopards here, though. It's much easier from the crew in South Africa. Speaking of which, so you've now sort of been introduced to the safari here in Kenya, in East Africa. What we're going to do now is send you all the way across to Noelle, who is in South Africa, and let us go and find what she has planned for your afternoon and what it is she is looking for.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Noelle, and on camera I have Ferg. Hello Ferg. Ferg saluting, one of these. And we are wild dog, or the African painted wolf, the large herd of buffalo, and hopefully with this very nice, warm, slightly windy afternoon we might pick up on some elephants as well. I am headed towards Chitwa Dam to see what's lurking around the dam there. And don't forget, we're live and interactive, so send through those questions. Hashtags. Send them through. All right, now recap from this morning. We had little Hassana just up ahead, who then went north, and Scott saw him, and then apparently he came south again. We had monkeys alarm calling to our north behind us, which could have possibly been Tundi, one of our resident female leopards. Hassana is one of our little male. Then the wild dogs, we had monkeys calling to our east, that which ended up being the wild dogs, and two of them made a kill of a baby impala for us, and then the rest of the pack joined up with them, and then they were do like to relax. Now, my friend Jamie is up in the Masai Mara, and she is bumbling. Enjoy that sighting, and we'll keep searching on our side.
Sorry about that, everyone. I think that the South African feed was struggling a little bit there, so we call that the attack of the gremlins, because that's the only way sometimes we can explain exactly what's happening. So we are still with our elephants, and remember I said to you that there were about 200 or so in the area that I am in, and it's just been such a wonderful way to spend an afternoon. And I'm actually going to turn around because we've got a herd that is coming up to move along behind us. So I'm going to go and put us somewhere where we can actually get to see them as they come past. You'll notice as I drive along, this whole area is really, really green when you compare it to the rest of the area that we're in. And that is because it's a swamp. It's the Samaki swamp. Oh! So Christian, elephants are what we call, or we term, keystone species. And what that means is that they actually have an enormous impact on the ecosystem in which they live. So, an elephant in certain places can convert woodland, if there's too many elephants, can convert woodland to grassland in under 10 years. In other words, it can push down so many trees that it can actually turn a place that was almost like a forest into a grassland. So what that tells you, that's an extreme example. What tells you is that elephants have a balance, or elephants have an effect on the balance of vegetation out here. So imagine one elephant is capable of eating between 200 to 300 kilograms of food a day. That's plants. Now imagine a herd of 20 elephants eating 200 kilograms a day. Now imagine 200 elephants eating 200 or 300 kilograms a day. And you can understand just how much food they get through. So that's one of the big ways that they have an impact on an ecosystem. They actually control the balance between the grass and the trees, and they have an impact on grasses as well. And here's the interesting thing, is that grass and grazers, or mixed feeders like elephants, they'll eat trees as well. Those two things have evolved together. So grass is actually designed to be grazed on. In fact, a lot of species of grass need to be grazed in order for it to propagate and for it to be healthy. So elephants we term keystone species. There we go. So we've spoken about how much an elephant eats. Peyton's wondering how much an elephant, on average, an adult elephant would weigh. So Peyton, I know you asked on average, but I'm going to tell you the record-breaking elephant size. First, the largest elephant ever found was around about 10,000 kilograms. 10,000 kilograms. And in fact, I actually think the largest one might have been even a little bit more than that. So, on average, you're looking at between 4 to 6 tons. Why do I say between when you ask me for an average? Well, there's a big difference between how much the females weigh and how much the males weigh. So, males really are very, very large. Oh, let's see if are those elephants mating. Quick, to the left there. Quick. It doesn't last long. That's something really unusual to see. There we go. I think they are. No, they are not mating. Those are two males, and that is dominance behavior. So excuse me. So it's very rare to see elephants mating. That's why I try to point them out as quickly as possible. But it's quite common to see two males doing exactly what those two were doing. And it's a way of basically one declaring its dominance over the other. So especially with young males, when they're fighting to still work out their place in not a hierarchy, because elephants don't really have a hierarchy. But when they're trying to practice the skills for when they need to fight with another male to mate with a female, So they practice play fighting, just like those two youngsters were doing, and now like these two slightly older elephants were doing as well. Like they'd be that fast, but remember, when their legs are really long and their footsteps, the distance one footstep and the next footstep is a very large distance indeed, and the end result is that their top speed, there's disagreement. Some people say that they could travel up to maximum maybe 6 to 8 meters per second. And I'm saying per second rather than per hour, because elephants actually run very short distances. Or there are some people that argue that it's far faster than that. Some people say that it could be up to 15 meters per second. The reason that it's so difficult to measure is you can't exactly go up to an elephant and say, okay, now run. It's a difficult one. Riley, we're really lucky. We could see elephants in our backyard. So when you work out in a place like this, you actually can't really live in a city, because you'd have to travel too far to work every day. So we're really lucky because we get to live with the animals. We don't actually live in the park, but the crew in South Africa do live in the reserve, and there are no fences between us and the animals. So the pride of lions that Brent is with, they killed a zebra outside our kitchen not so long ago. We see hyenas all the time, we see zebra all the time. Sometimes we see hedgehogs or porcupines. Here comes a female. Hello, girl. Do you want to come walk past us? I got distracted because this was actually why I moved here in the first place, was for these elephants walking up to us or walking close to us. Sometimes we get leopards in the camp, sometimes we get lions in the camp, sometimes we get... Never had a cheetah in a camp before, not yet anyway. So we're always very careful when we walk around at night, and we make sure that we have flashlights, because otherwise it could be quite dangerous. Oh, and buffalo. Lots of buffalo. So, I told you that where we live, we get all sorts of creatures coming to visit us around camp. When I lived in the South African camp, I saw lots of elephants in the garden around the camp. Let's go and find out from Tristan whether he's had any elephants around his garden recently.
Well, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to South Africa and a big bull elephant. Well, not a very big bull elephant. This is a young individual. Now, my name is Tristan, as Jamie mentioned, and on camera today I have got a VM, and this is a very warm welcome to the schools that are joining us. I hope you're having fun so far, and remember that you must keep asking lots and lots of questions. Now, we've got a young male. He's on the back end of a whole herd, and they disappeared into a thicket, but this young male is still here, and the reason why he's still here is you can see, look how he's using his trunk. He's busy sniffing around. So he's standing under a tree that is called a Marula tree, and there you can see one of the fruits lying in the ground, that little green round ball that's on the ground there. That's a Marula fruit, and they are very sweet and very tasty, and the elephants absolutely love them. And so what you'll find is, at the moment, where you find these trees is an elephant sitting underneath it, at almost all of them, picking up these Marula fruits, trying to get some food. So Sophie, you're wondering what the average lifespan is of an elephant? Well, in South Africa, it's about 55 years of age, so between 50-55, whereas where Brent and Jamie are in Kenya, And the reason why there's a difference, Sophie, is because of what they eat. So here there's a lot of vegetation that is trees. So we see a lot of trees, and that means that the elephants have to eat a lot of roots, a lot of bark, and that's very abrasive. And so abrasive is basically it wears their teeth down very quickly, whereas in Kenya they're eating a lot more grass, and therefore their teeth survive a little bit better than our elephants down here. And so that's why they can live a little bit longer, is because their teeth last for a longer period than ours do. And so ours, unfortunately, have to kind of make do with a shorter life. Lily, you're wondering how many elephants are living in... Well, Lily, it's difficult to say because of elephants moving such a long distance and kind of in and out. But if we take the Greater Kruger National Park, which is 8 million acre area, there is approximately elephants in that whole spot. They go from where we are in the sort of southwestern corner of the Greater Kruger National Park, and then they go all the way northwards up towards Mozambique and Zimbabwe. So they do move growing this male, so they're going to be tucking into the fruits. So while we enjoy watching them eating their fruits, I'm going to send you all the way back to Jamie in the Mara, and I'm not sure what she's got, but hopefully it'll be interesting.
I hope it'll be attacked by animals or being careful around animals. Here we have a situation where there's a female elephant and her youngsters walking down the road. Now, I want to drive down the road, she wants to walk down the road. And the trick here is for me to be respectful and to move off the road completely, so that she has the right of way. This is her home before it is my home. Still my home, but it's more her home. So I move off the road and I let her come past as she wants to. Of course, as I said that, she moved off the road. Hey, polite old thing. Very good-mannered. There we go. Looks like quite an old female elephant. And her two babies. One slightly older and one that's under a year old, or just about a year old. Right, I mentioned that there was a pride of lions that killed a zebra outside of our kitchen. Well, Brent has managed to find them this afternoon. Fortunately not outside our kitchen, but let's go and find out how close he is to camp.
We're probably just finishing eating a warthog. So they caught that probably about 2 or 3 hours ago, and now there's a little bit left. But hi, my name is Brent, and we are surrounded by lions. Isn't that exciting? So lots of lions all over the place. 17 lions in this pride. So you can see there's one sleeping there, another one over there, another one there, and then the rest of the pride all lying down, and you can hear them crunching on the bones. Here we go, lots of lions. Well, Nathaniel is wondering what the largest animal I've ever seen is. Probably would have to be a whale, Nathaniel. Southern right whale or a humpback whale. I'm not sure which one of those is bigger, but that's the biggest animal I've ever seen is a whale. Biggest animal in the bush I've ever seen is elephants. Oh. Up there. Quickly, let's have a look. It looks like a bloom. What monkeys have we got here? Oh, look, I think we've got some blue monkeys have just arrived. Isn't that cool? This is very special. We don't see them often at all. There, you see the little one. Oh, there's a jumper. There's a tiny little one back watching the lions. A little baby one. Oh, there he goes. He's skedaddled now. There we go. Isn't that exciting? He's watching the lions. Now, the monkeys are safe up in the trees from the lions. The lions are not very good tree climbers. I'm just going to move the car a little bit so we can maybe get a better view of those monkeys. Now, Lex would like to know, what is my favorite animal? Lex, my favorite animal is the African wild dog. They're very, very pretty animals. They're also very exciting to watch. I'm just trying to see where those monkeys disappeared to. Now, they won't want to stay around where the lions are, even though that they're safe up in the trees. I think they just came to have a look because they heard the lions growling at each other. And it looks like they've disappeared now into the tops of the trees somewhere down here. But I'll keep my eyes on, but we've still got lots of lions all around us. Can just, if I keep quiet, you can hear the lions making noises. Low growling. There was a bit of a fight over a little piece of meat. Those lions on the edge there. Doesn't that sound scary? But don't worry, Archie and I are safe here in our car. And it looks like we got lucky. The rainstorm missed us. But look at that lion there lying on his back. Oh, he's rolled over now. Murphy's Law. But I think the lions might get up and start moving shortly. So we're going to stay here and wait to see what they do. And Jamie's got something that really doesn't like buffaloes. I mean, like lions, which is buffaloes.
It's definitely something that doesn't like lions. There's 3 of them here, and they are big male buffalo. They might not like lions, but I can tell you what they do like, and that is to go and lie in the thick, glutinous mud that surrounds this swampy area. And you can see their skin is actually already coated in mud from where they've spent the day wallowing in the mud earlier. So now I'm going to ask you a question. Let's see if you can figure this one out. Why do you think buffalo like to lie in mud? There's 2 main reasons. I want to see if you can figure out what they are. So I'm going to put that question to all of you. Why would a buffalo like to lie in mud? And there's actually a hint already. Sorry, I'm just watching this guy on the right. Hey boy, what you doing? What you doing, huh? It's okay. Alright, we're gonna have to leave him. No, he's okay. It's okay, boy. Weston, you're asking if I'm not afraid that they might attack me on a tour. I'm not afraid of being attacked by the animals, but there are certain situations where I'm reading the animal's body language, like this gentleman. Behave yourself, mister. There we go. Okay. Oh, he is not happy with us. just going to move away from him. Okay, he's moving away from us too. We're just going to move away from him because he's given me every sign that he's not comfortable with us. That head shake and the moving towards us with his head up, those are all signs from the animal that they are not happy. And then it's our job to not push anything. So remember, we're in their space and not the other way around. So we give them, when they give us those warning signs, then we leave them and we give them plenty of space so that we don't get attacked. So remember how we discussed a little bit earlier, the fact that the chances of us being attacked by an animal are really small. But they are wild animals, and we have to remember that, and we have that. And that's why we're always watching their body language, always checking to see that we are welcome in their space, that they're not uncomfortable with us. So any kind of warning signs, we immediately leave the animal alone. We just move away and we don't in any way threaten them. Okay, we're going to carry on. As I said, we see a lot of the same animals here in Kenya that we do in South Africa. Let's go and see whether or not Tristan has found any more to show you and what he plans on showing you for the rest of the afternoon.